What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Today is February 10th, and tonight we are going to be talking about New Leadership Conference, my quick recap for you guys, and some of the things that I learned. And then we're also going to talk briefly about our coach apprenticeship that we're starting next week. So if this is your first time on, say hi, type in the chat. And you guys know if at any point you need to mute yourselves, you know how to do so. And if you ever need to say anything, you can either unmute yourselves or you can type in the chat. So I'm going to share my screen real fast to do some recognition. I don't know why this is so fuzzy. And I'm also really bad at math because I posted this and didn't include myself on it. And then when I posted myself, I didn't change this. So it's actually 32 lives already changed, and we are at the 10th of the month, which is pretty awesome, being that we ended last month with 64 lives changed. So we're already halfway to where we ended the month, and we're not even halfway through February yet, which is awesome. Super proud of you guys. Everybody's, cranking and working super hard with Team Cup this month. So on the board, we have Ray with 4, Sarah Cabral 4, Kate Daigle 4, Joe 4, Kate Smitty 4, Court Spindler 4, myself 2, and then at SC5 Plus, we have Becky Van Duzen with 6. So shout out to everybody who's been crushing it. And shout out to Beck for being the first one in the race to SC this month. I am going to stop sharing that and figure out why my screen's being funky so I can pull up the presentation. And all right, so let me come back, share. Okay, you guys see my screen? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Yeah, okay. All right, so, geez, my dad's calling. So I just got back from New Leadership Conference. New Leadership Conference is a conference that there was about 400 of us out of 400,000 coaches that received an invitation or qualified. It was pretty awesome to go to. I'm not a big traveler. Most of you guys know that about me. It was very intense and a lot and overwhelming, but I'm so glad that I went. Going to this just kind of relit my fire and reinstilled in me just my belief in this organization and this company that we work for. And I left feeling so thankful for the fact that I do something every day that I love. And if you guys saw my post from yesterday, just talking about how, I really truly believe that it's a blessing to be doing a job that's both business and pleasure at once. So I'm going to talk about like the big takeaways. I do have some notes on my phone. I didn't get a chance to finish going through and putting my notes on. Smitty, I'm going to mute you, okay? I didn't get a chance to put everything in slides, so you guys are going to kind of see me go back and forth between my phone and these. But so many big takeaways, but I'm going to go over the biggest of all of them for you. And the number one takeaway, and you guys saw this if you're in our text thread, but the number one takeaway is track your business. So if you're new to this call and you don't know what this pretty picture is over here on the left, that's our Success Club system. That's what we call our business activity tracker. You'll hear us refer to it as our BAT. And that is what every single coach on that stage talked about. So we had, for guest speakers, we had Sammy Glonick. She's a 3-time elite coach. Was top 10 last year. This year was like number 14 or 15 coach in the network. We had Kelsey Hill. Kelsey Hill was a 1-star diamond sitting in New Leadership Conference audience last year this time. And she finished the year as the number 10 coach in the network, which is phenomenal. Like that's the fastest paced growth they've ever seen with any coach. And she's 23 years old. So that's pretty incredible. And then we had Melanie Mitro. Melanie Mitro has been 4-time top coach in the network. She's currently ranked number 4. She finished 2019 as a number 4 coach, but she is somebody who I could listen to speak all day, because to me, if you can be the top coach in this network 4 years in a row, you figured it out and you know your stuff and you know this business. So out of all of those people with all of those prerequisites, every single person drilled home the point that if you are not tracking your work, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And, this was kind of a gut check for myself because I don't use the BAT consistently. I do know what's on the BAT and I do structure my business around it, but I've never actually physically like checked the boxes and kept record of it. And I think it's really easy to sometimes kind of just like summarize, like, oh, I'm going to do my bat today. And that's what I was doing. Like, I knew I was doing the things within it, but I was cutting corners and I wasn't doing it to the best of my ability. And I wasn't actually tracking it and having it on paper in front of me. So if you're not tracking your business, if you're not tracking your invites, your follow-ups, your personal development, your workouts, your shakes, you do not have a business, you have a hobby. And one of the things that they kept saying at the event is you can't put in a B work effort and expect an A grade business. And so really do a gut check with yourselves, pull out your bats. Yes, there is an app, but I'm going to print this. I'm going to print a ton of pages of this, have it bound, and I'm going to have it where I can literally look through at any given time and I can see, like, here's last week's bats. And part of the reason why I want to do that is because tracking includes, yes, using this tracker, but what it also includes is tracking your tracker. So if you notice a trend, like on Sundays, I really suck at inviting and following up. That seems to be something I'm not consistently doing. Or on, Wednesdays, I'm doing a great job doing personal development, but every other day I'm not. So looking for patterns within your business is how we grow and how we can perfect our businesses. Kelsey Hill finished, she sponsored 27, I believe, diamonds in 2019. 27 diamonds. That's a massive number. So the biggest thing that she said was direct all of your new coaches right to the bat. So anytime you have a new coach that joins your team, the very first place that you direct them is that business activity tracker. Oftentimes, you're going to have new coaches that think they're doing all the things. And this is your opportunity to show them, like, in a day, this is your requirements. This is what you should be doing. And a lot of the times when you ask to see their business activity tracker, if they're struggling, if they're lagging behind, if they're like, what the heck, I'm not hitting Success Club, or I'm not finding the success that I wanted, or that I feel like I'm putting in, that's your opportunity to say, show me your bat. Because that's where you're going to really see if they're truly, and you're going to know, like Kelsey said, Melanie said, Sammy said, if somebody's, people can say, what's the proof? Like, what's to stop you from checking all those boxes? You're going to be able to tell based off of their progress within their business, based off of their Success Club numbers, based off of their social media, if they're truly doing this or not. So this is how you determine where your time goes. You say to your coaches, show me your bat. So if somebody comes to you and says, I'm struggling within my business, and this is something that Melanie said, is you'll hear me talk about, like, 80% of your time should be focused on your business. 20% should be focused on your team. If you have people that are coming to you that are like, hey, I feel like I need to do a call this week, I'm struggling with this. That's where you say to them, okay, I'm going to do a social media audit. I'm going to make sure you're sharing on your social media, because that's number one. Number one is, if you're not even sharing on your social media, then you're not a coach. Okay. So number one, are you sharing? And I'm going to check that. And number two is, show me your bat. And if you're not doing your bat, that's okay. But that's probably the answer to why you're struggling. So why don't you start doing your bat? Why don't you, over the next week, focus on doing that more consistently? And then, text me when you've done that and let me see your bat, and I'll audit your social media, and then we can set up a call. Okay. Giving mindset. This is one of the things I loved about Kelsey Hill's presentation. Kelsey was like, I shifted my mindset to a giving mindset. Meaning in this business, we tend to expect a lot, especially of our coaches, and they really truly don't owe us anything. Like, our businesses and our success of our business is really not up to anybody but ourselves. And I think a lot of the times in this business, we tend to put too much weight on our team and too much expectations. Like, if I want to be 2-star diamond, I can't put the expectations on Rachel and Sarah or Becky and Nicole. Like, that has to come from me. Like, the expectation has to come from myself. If I don't hit 2-star diamond, it's nobody else's fault but myself. So, stop expecting things from your team and learn to give to them. Wake up every day and ask yourself, how can I give back to them? How can I help them grow? Become self-reliant and create backup plans. So in this business, you can't rely on anybody but yourself. So instead of saying, like, in order to achieve 1-star diamond, I have to have 6 active coaches on each leg. And I need to make sure this person orders. I need to make sure this person stays active. No, you don't. You need to make sure you're continuing to acquire within your business, keeping that pipeline open. You continue to recruit and you're stacking, because again, you're not going to rely on anybody else but yourself. So don't ever find yourself in this business saying like, for diamond, I need to have 4 coaches and I need this chick to be emerald and I need to make my husband's count emerald. What happens if this girl drops emerald? What happens if her coaches don't stay active? None of that is of your concern, because your concern is I need an emerald. So you take that ownership and you say, I'm going to get 5 emeralds so that I'm not relying on this person keeping their rank. So you always are self-reliant and you stack yourself, you build yourself, and you create backup plans. And those backup plans are by building deep within your organization. Okay, this was my favorite thing, and excuse the bad language if you're not somebody that likes cussing, but if you're on this team, you likely are. This was the thing where I told you guys in our text thread, somebody remind me to talk about Sydney Moyer's story. So Sydney Moyer.
Bye, Eminal. They're like, oh yeah. They'll stink.
Kate's muted. Kate, what's going on? All right, you're muted now. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I don't know if you guys know who Sydney Moyer is. So Sydney is one of the corporate reps. I believe she's in the Great Lakes region. Don't quote me on that. But if you look her up on Instagram, it's Sydney Moyer BB, and she's absolutely gorgeous. Like beautiful, perfect body, bubbly, happy. Sydney, before she worked for Beachbody, one of her coaches was one of the top coaches in this network, and never invited her. One of her best friends never invited her to the Beachbody opportunity. Would talk to her about Beachbody all the time, would share with her success. Oh my gosh, I did this many, I signed this many coaches, I sold this many challenge packs, I hit this success club. Never once invited Sydney to the opportunity as a coach or as a challenger. And finally, one day, Sydney said they were sitting talking, and she was going on and on about all of her accolades. And Sydney said to her, hey, why not me? Why haven't you invited me? And her friend was like, what do you mean, Sid? Like, why would I? And she was like, why wouldn't you? Like, it's hurting my feelings. It's ruining our friendship. Like, I listen to you all day, every day. Tell me about how successful you are at this. I hear you tell me your paychecks. I see you going on all these trips. Like, why not me? And she was like, well, Sid, why would I invite you? Like, you're in the best shape of your life. You've got the perfect body. You're so happy. You love your job. And Sydney said, this was one of my best friends that saw my highlight reel. She goes, a lot of people in the world don't tell people their shit. They don't show their true colors. You look at their Instagram and it looks like they've got everything together and it looks like everything's perfect. She's like, little did my best friend know that I hated my job. And I left and I drove home. My whole drive home, I'd cry my eyes out because I hated my job so much. My friend didn't know that, because I just was this bubbly person that would put on this fake facade, even to one of my best friends. If I did that with one of my best friends, think about what my Instagram looked like. Think about what the perception was looking at my social media from somebody not even in my inside world. And what she also didn't know was that I was struggling with an eating disorder, and that I was struggling with an eating disorder because I didn't know how to properly fuel my body. And I didn't know, Landon, shh, please, honey, okay? Sorry. And I didn't know, I was starving myself because I didn't know how to fuel my body, and I didn't understand nutrition. And she's like, so this was one of my best friends who was having crazy success. And she said to me, she goes, I said to her, who the fuck are you to decide what someone else needs or doesn't need in their life? And this story was like 10 minutes of the entire conference. And it was what resonated with me the most, because too often in this business, we decide for other people what they need. And who the fuck are we to do that? Like, who am I to say, Susie has a great life. Susie has a great body. Susie's so happy. Susie loves her job. Who are we to decide that? So Sydney said, don't ever be that person that doesn't invite everybody, because what we truly have, we have a gift that we're handing to people on a silver platter. And you never know who needs that. And it's not up to you to decide. And by not inviting them and deciding for them, you're doing a disservice to them. So that was like probably my biggest takeaway, is invite everybody. And you have to find the belief within this opportunity where you believe in this opportunity so much, so strongly, that you really believe that you're doing a disservice by not talking about it to everybody and anybody, even the people that are on your hairy, scary list of people that are like, you're so afraid to invite them. Those are probably the people that are thinking, why the fuck have they not reached out to me? Why has she not asked me? Like, it's, Sydney said, it was hurtful and it was insulting that she chose for me, that she decided for me it was something I didn't need. So really remind yourself of that when you're reaching out to people, when you're inviting people. All the people that are following you on your social media, they're following you for a reason. If they weren't intrigued, they'd stop following you. If they're showing up and watching your stuff every day, you are doing them a disservice by not inviting them. And sure, they might say no. Like Sydney even said, I might have said no the first time, the second time, the third time, but she never asked me. And that was way more hurtful than her inviting me and me saying no. Okay, personal development. This is another huge thing. How many of you, I can't see a lot of you, but how many of you do personal development consistently every single day? Okay, good. So like 20 minutes at bare minimum. But this was another thing that every topic they talked about linked back to personal development. Every single topic, every single speech, everything, including the compliance talk, which I'll touch on. But Melanie Mitro said this, and this stuck with me. If you're not good at something, go looking for resources that help you be better at it. If you suck at organization, Google personal development on organization. Like, it's that simple. And, you know, Kelsey said, reading these books helped me realize that I wasn't alone, that I wasn't like, if somebody's writing a book on it, you're not the only person that's struggling with it. There's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people that are struggling with the same thing you're struggling with. But if you're not good at something, don't just accept not being good at it. Find a way to be better at it. And think of personal development as a way to level up your offense. Like, this is what makes you strong as a coach, as a person, as a wife, as a spouse, as a mom, whatever that is for you. But this is your offensive line. You are only as strong as your best personal development. And that's facts. And every single thing in this business comes from your mindset and your belief. And if your mindset and your belief is not strong, that goes back to your personal development. So these are just a few. Dare to Lead. These are Melanie's top favorite of all time. Goal Digger, Laws of Leadership, Dare to Lead. And the compound effect is one that was brought up repeatedly throughout the conference. I actually ordered it and I just got it last night. I already started reading it and it's phenomenal. The other thing that they talked about a lot with personal development is Kelsey Hill was saying, when you're posting, your post should be either educating, inspiring, or motivating. If they're not one of those three things, am I educating? Am I inspiring? Am I motivating? If the answer is no, you're offering zero value to your followers and you're not posting it. And if you're looking at a post and you're struggling with how to educate, inspire, or motivate, look to your personal development. This is something that Ray does really well. She posts about what they talked about in her meditation that morning, or what she read in her personal development, or what she heard on a call. So a lot of the times, Kelsey said her best posts come from two places. One, personal development, and two, Pinterest. So she's looking for something inspiring, she'll go to Pinterest. This is a big point that I want to hammer home. Kelsey never goes to another coach's page for content, for value. She actually said in the very beginning of her, she was the first speaker we had, and she said, everybody take out your phones and think of who you follow, and if they're a coach, go unfollow them. And she's like, right now, unfollow them, because you are doing yourself and your business a disservice by following other coaches. The reason why is it's so easy to get wrapped up in what Ashley Molsted's doing. She's the top coach. This is what she posts. This is how she talks. This is what her pictures look like. But then you have Melanie Mitro. Melanie Mitro and Ashley are polar opposites. And the way Melanie talks and the way Melanie posts and the way Melanie stories are totally different. So you end up in this comparison game where you're comparing yourself to all of these other coaches that all have different styles, that all talk differently and act differently. And before you know it, you're so busy trying to be a piece of each and every one of those people, you're not yourself. And at the end of the day, the reason why people are going to choose to join you is because they can relate and they connect to you. And if you're not being yourself, you want to know what's going to happen. And this is what Kelsey talked about. And I think it's my next slide. You're going to build a team of people that are not your people. So if you're sitting back and you're like, what the hell? Why am I getting coaches that are this? And that's so not me. That's not my tribe. That's not my people. It's probably because you're acting on your social media to be somebody that you aren't, because you're trying to fit a mold of all of these other coaches. That's not you. So unfollow those coaches. And the other thing that she said is for anybody that you follow, if you find yourself comparing yourself to a story, to a post, you immediately unfollow them, because comparison is the thief of joy. And all that's going to happen is you're going to start paralleling yourself to this person. And right there, you have a negative mindset. Stay in your own lane. That's the best advice that I can give. And that's something that I really took from this conference is you are you. And that's what people are going to be attracted to and drawn to. Be authentic to yourself. All right. So what sets us apart? Create a healthy team culture. I know there's a lot of us that aren't in this picture, but I chose this picture for a reason, because this to me is what Beachbody is. It's a community of like-minded women that get together and build businesses and boss up, but have fun while they're doing it. And if you look at this picture, it's hard for you to not smile. It's hard for you to not feel joy. That's what you want. You want to create a healthy team culture. You want to create a team that you're beyond proud of, that you would do anything for. And Kelsey said, like, she built to 1 star and she was sitting at NLC. And when she was at NLC, she didn't feel good about her team. Like, she didn't talk about her challenge groups the way other people did. She didn't talk about her team the way she heard other teams talk. Like, oh my God, this is my top coach and she's like my best friend and I'd do anything in the world for her. She was like, I was planning a wedding and I'm having a baby. And like, I couldn't see myself inviting any of them or wanting any of them at my wedding. I was so desperate for bodies and for filling in circles that I was filling the circles with people that aren't my people and aren't my tribe. And so she said, I just decided, like, from NLC forward, that I was only going to create a healthy team culture that was of people that I was proud of, that I would do anything for, that I would invite to my wedding and that I would invite to my baby shower. And she's like, the way that you do that is by being you and finding people that are like you, that have commonalities with you. Be yourself, be authentic. Reward your coaches and recognize them according to their Enneagrams or their love language. The Enneagram thing came up. I posted it in our team page at one point, and I don't think a lot of you guys did it, but it's something that came up a lot. And as I was talking to other coaches and networking with other coaches on other teams, everybody was like, Kim, what Enneagram are you? I'm like, I'm a 6. And they're like, well, what are your coaches? And I was like, I'm not really sure. And they're like, well, that's your biggest problem. You need to know what they are. And you need to know how their number functions in life and in this world, because that tells you so much. Like, there was one girl that I was staying with and she was like, you're a 6. I was like, you don't even know me. She's like, you're a 6. I know, like, I've got you pegged. You're a 6, full and through. And I was like, she was right. And she goes, and I think your wing is a 2 and a 7. And that's literally my Enneagram. But she studied the Enneagram so much and how they function in life that she can pick out like that what people are. And that's important, because we knew each other like a plane ride to California, and that was it. And we barely talked on the plane ride, but she had me pegged. She knew me inside and out, and she knew my characteristics. She knew my strengths. She knew my weaknesses. She knew what would be hard for me in this business, all just by knowing what my Enneagram numbers were. If you don't know yours, really sit down, take the test, post it in our team page and let me know. But I studied this on the way home from the plane ride to start learning the numbers and what that means about people and how they function because of it. And then the other piece, which I am strong at, and I do know a lot of your guys' love language, but understanding your team's love language and also being super bluntly upfront and honest with your team about what your love language is. Because while you're going to go into this, like we said, with a giving mindset, at the end of the day, you can't give if you feel completely like your cup has emptied. You're only going to be able to give if you're being fulfilled as well. And if you're not being upfront with your team about your Enneagram or your love language, they can't fill your cup. They could be trying to, but at the end of the day, your fire is going to be lit by theirs and theirs is going to be lit by you. And they go hand in hand. And it's a two-way street, just like every other relationship. It's a two-way street. So if you're fulfilling what your coaches need, but they're not fulfilling you, it doesn't work. It has to go both ways. So I'll tell you guys, most of you guys already know this, my love language is words of affirmation. You can do things for me all day long. You can like play with my hair, not that any of you would, but I'm just saying, you can take out the trash for me. That all means nothing to me if the words aren't there. Words of affirmation and quality time. I want to spend time with you and I want you to express to me your feelings, good or bad. So take some time and like really look into that and learn your coaches, even your challengers. Like you should know this about your challengers. It's literally going to set you apart. Create relationships that are so much more meaningful than just a work kind of relationship. That's important. Like you need to build depth within your coaching team, within your team, within your relationships, because at the end of the day, that's what makes people stay. Nobody wants to hang out and do all this stuff for people that they don't genuinely enjoy spending time with, that they love, that they care about. Because you know what? There's going to be times in this business when shit gets really hard. And if they don't feel connected to you or connected to the team, it's going to be a lot easier for them to cancel their coach account. And before you know it, you're going to get that thing in the mail, that in your email that's like, this coach canceled. 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen if you have built depth within your relationship and your friendship with your coaches. They're going to come to you and they're going to say, I think I'm going to quit. And this is why. And they're going to give you the opportunity to help them work through it. Otherwise, they're not. So you need depth within your relationships. 80% of your time should be spent on your personal business and 20% on your team. And this, I'm going to kind of go over some stuff next Monday too, if you guys are cool with it, because it was a lot to cover. And I am going to make sure that you guys have access to, they haven't posted the videos yet. And they were kind of going back and forth about whether or not they're going to share the videos, which is frustrating because a lot of us were recording the videos and they told us not to because they were going to post them. So that's something that's kind of going back and forth, but they have posted all of the slides and I'm going to make sure you guys have access to all of that. But this is a big focus, was where are you spending your time? And they talked a lot about acquisition, retention, and duplication. And how when you start off as a coach, 100% of your business is spent in acquisition. You're just acquiring. But as you grow and you become Ruby, and then you become Diamond, and you become Star Diamond, that percentage shifts. So by the time you're Star Diamond, 50% of your time should be spent in acquiring and acquisition, and 50% should be spent in retention and duplication. So what that means is the pipeline is always open, because 50% of your time you're acquiring new challengers, new coaches. You're always getting new faces into the pipeline to grow, to foster, to develop. And then 50% of it is retaining and duplicating. So retaining those people, getting them results, helping them be successful, and then duplication. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Melanie said, really and truly 80% of your time should be spent on your personal business. This is something where I shifted gears a lot. I used to focus a lot on my own business and very little on the team, until I realized like I need to give back more to the team. And I need to do more to help you guys foster and grow. So over the last few months, I've really focused all of my time on creating the systems, the coach trainings, doing calls with you guys to help you realize your potential or to help you understand things more. And I found that I was spreading myself thin. While I loved it, I wasn't continuing to acquire. And it was showing in my Success Club numbers. It was showing in my personal commissions, my personal business. So you always want to be spending 80% of your time on your own personal business, on your personally sponsored coaches or your coach business, on your challengers, on you hitting Success Club, and 20% of the time on your team and their success. And then you control the pipeline. So you always have an influx of new people with new energy. They talked a lot about how every time somebody new comes into your team, it's like a relit fire. It's like a spark. And that's how you have to look at it. That's why acquiring is so important in this business. You never stop recruiting. You never stop acquiring, because anytime somebody new comes in, I was just talking about this, I think, with Sarah. It was like when Kelly came in, right? Like Kelly comes in, she's ready to sprint. She's ready to run. She's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put together this training. I'm going to put together this graphic. It was like a spark, right? It reignited Rachel's fire, and then Rachel's fire being reignited my fire. And that's what happens when people come into this business. So that's your goal. Your goal is to re-spark the fire. And the way you're going to do that is with new people and new energy. It's not to say that you can't have this spark with everybody we already have, but it's just like with relationships, right? As you've been married for a longer period of time, you start to lose that spark, and you need things to reignite it. I'm not saying you go and like, do affairs and things like that. It's probably a really bad parallel, but my point is you need to re-spark the energy and continue building. Okay. This is where I'm going to kind of go to my phone for a little bit. So Melanie talks, I don't know if you guys have ever heard her talk about this. She's talked about this, I believe, at Summit, and she's also talked about it a couple of times on her podcast. But she talked about, the 3 categories of coaches and running with the runners. So she said, I have 3 categories of how I bucket people, and I put it on a whiteboard every single month. So I have a column for the loyalists from that month. I have a column for the talkers, and I have a column for the runners. And this is how I bucket them. The loyalists are the people that are in your challenge groups. They're getting results. They're drinking the shakes, interacting in there, and they're great advocates. They want the discount, but they have absolutely no interest of building a business. Sally, she might be a discount coach. She's really good when she sees her potential. Oh, she's going to be great. It's easy to say that, right? Like, oh, she's going to be so awesome. But at the end of the day, you have to say to yourself, what is Sally really truly going to do? Right? Like, what does she do? Does she actually do activities that make her a coach? Or is she just somebody that's loyal to the programs and loyal to the products and loyal to the challenge group? Those are still people that are great, but you're not going to spend 100% of your time on Sally. You're going to give Sally like 10% of your time, because Sally's great and Sally offers a ton of value in the challenge group, and you want her to continue to do that because that's her role. But you also have to do a gut check and say, Sally's a really great discount coach. She's not going to work this business. But you're still giving some percentage of your time to her. The talkers. These are the people that in January said they're going to be elite and they're emerald. They haven't hit Success Club in 8 months. They fill out their goal sheets every single month. They say they're going to be SC10 every month, and they show up 3 days out of the whole month. They have goals. They show up to every single team call, and they get on every other team's coaches calls. And they're consumers of information. And she said, this is what you call analysis paralysis. These are your people that just suck up all the information. And then it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go past that. So they talk a good game. Those are people you're going to put like 20% of your time into, because they are doing the things. They're doing more of the things than the loyalists. And they're actually saying they want to do more, but their actions aren't showing it. So you're gonna give them 20% of your time. You're gonna say, good job, Sally. You did great, but you gotta do better. And if Sally comes to you and says, hey, I really want to do a call, because she really wants to get on those calls because she's analysis paralysis and she wants all the information, you say to her, I'm more than happy to give you the information, but I have to check your social media, make sure you're sharing, and you have to do your BAT for the next 4 to 7 days, and then we can talk. Runners. These are the people that set goals and take action. They're coachable, motivated, and driven. Okay, so this is where she started to talk about, these are the people you challenge. These are the people that she said you educate to motivate. There's a thing in this business where we have our people, we have our runners, and we lead with fear. And it's, what if I say the wrong thing and she quits? Because we have these people, we have these runners, and they're great and they're going to be awesome, but you have to be able to challenge them, and you can't lead with fear. So yes, you want to, educate to motivate them. You go to them and you say like, hey, you're doing awesome. You let them see their potential. And Melanie gave this example of her and her husband had gone out on a date day, and she's like, we were sitting on the couch, and she said to her husband, Matt, we did really bad with our nutrition today. And he was like, what? We didn't do that bad. And she was like, Matt, we did really bad. And she started listing, like, you had this many beers, and you had, tacos, and then you had fries, and then you had dessert. And then she said, sometimes you have to be honest with people and educate to motivate them. Like, I wasn't being a jerk going to my husband and saying, like, we really did really shitty today. Sometimes you have to mom people and you have to challenge them and you have to get them to see things through different lenses, because you're going to have those coaches that think they're killing it. And they're like, you know what? It wasn't that bad. Like, do you want a coach that says to you, well, my month wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad? Or do you want to foster coaches that are like, yeah, you know what? You're right. It was a shitty month and next month's going to be incredible. So learning how to educate, to motivate, and how to like challenge them coming from a place of love, where you're motivating them and getting them to see that not that bad is not what you want in this business. You want great. But these are your people that you give like 60 to 70% of your time to. These are the people you do calls with when they want to do calls. These are the people that you'll get on their team calls and support them, or that you'll talk to their personally sponsored coaches, that you'll offer value into their challenge groups. These are the people that you put the majority of your time into. And this is just a side note. She said she uses a system called Acuity Scheduling, and she uses that to schedule the exclusive one-on-one time each week or twice a month with her runners. So each week or twice a month, she gets on a call one-on-one with her runners, and they talk. Like, how are things going? What are you having success with? What are you struggling with? How can I help you? Sometimes they do power hours together. But she said, you don't ever want to go more than 2 weeks without seeing your runners face to face, because you want to continue to talk shop with them, motivate them, and see where they're at in their business. If talkers come to you and say, I want to do a call, tell them print out their backs. Send me a message a week from today with your filled out tracker. I'll go back and look at your social media, and then we'll set up a call. She said 9 times out of 10, you're never going to hear from them again, because you set the precedent that that's what they need to do to be on a call with you, and they're not going to do it because they're all talk. So that gets rid of that, and there goes your time. Okay, let me see. Am I doing on time? All right. How many of you guys know the Beachbody income disclaimer? How many of you guys use it? Not a lot. Okay. All right. So there was a huge focus on this, and I'm going to try to talk really, really fast about two different things. So this is our Beachbody income disclaimer. It says Team Beachbody does not guarantee any level of success or income from the Team Beachbody coach opportunity. Each coach's income depends on his or her own efforts, diligence, and skill. See our statement of independent coach earnings for the most recent information on the actual incomes of all of our coaches. 2 reasons why this was super important, this event. First is, and this we were told we had to relay to our team from Jonathan Gelfin. Jonathan Gelfin is the head of our legal department. We spent 45 minutes of a 3-hour presentation on this disclaimer. And then Michael Neiman talked on it another 40-ish minutes. So this is super important right now. I don't know if you guys heard, but Herbalife was just recently nailed, and they're getting dropped down to a retail distribution only company. So they're not going to be allowed to do retail sale distribution anymore through resellers. It's going to be just like Advocare. So this happened to Advocare, and now this is happening to Herbalife. The reason why compliance is starting to be such assholes about this statement is because if we are not staying within compliance, the FTC will be all over us and can shut us down. So anytime you are making any sort of claim whatsoever, like, hey, here's my transformation. I don't know if you guys saw it in my post I did last night. I put it in the comment section. The only thing that matters is whenever you post or whenever you story, you have it time-stamped that whenever you put the information out there, you put this disclaimer on it, whether it's your transformation, whether it's the success that you've had as a coach, your income progression. This statement has to follow. And the reason why is because this is what companies are being shut down for.
Hey, Kim, even if it's not talking about money?
Yes, even if it's a transformation. So the transformation one is different. The transformation one is the one that says like, you'll see it on, have you ever seen it on like To Be Mindset? And there's like a transformation picture Beachbody shares, and there's the thing that goes across it that says, Rachel B is a coach, and this is not guaranteed results. And she found this success with To Be Mindset and Shakeology.
Right.
You just always want to make sure, like, you can never make a claim or put in writing something that's not something that's like Herbalife just got nailed because a distributor posted a picture. It's sometimes even just the pictures you choose. Somebody posted a post about their success with Herbalife, and they posted a picture of them standing in front of a Ferrari at a Ferrari dealership. And it was implying that the person had got the Ferrari from Herbalife, which is not true. But because that was implied and not clarified, they got nailed for it. And that's one of the biggest hits that Herbalife just took in terms of from the FTC. So sometime, and there was another one with Herbalife where a girl was talking about the opportunity and how much success she had. And she put a picture of this like mansion. And it was implied that that was her mansion because it was her standing in front of it. So you just have to be careful about the photos that you're using. Like, you can talk about the opportunity and talk about your income progression. Don't ever like put your pay stub or your paycheck on there like, hey, look, this is a screenshot of my earnings and commissions. Don't do that. Jonathan Gelfand was like, literally think of it like your full-time job. Would you get your paycheck and walk around the office and show everybody? No. So don't put it on social media. But you can do an income progression. You can do all of these things. You just got to drop in the comments. I did it last night. I hid it within my hashtags. So if you guys go look at my post from last night, in my comments were my hashtags, and then I dot down, and then I put this disclaimer. Just has to be timestamped that whenever you posted, you also put the disclaimer somewhere in correlation to your post. But the cool thing about this was there's been a huge focus on this income disclaimer. And Michael Neiman's entire presentation, the first presentation, was about this and how so often we're like, Beachbody does not, and he's like, you guys talk about it like, I'm going to put the legal stamp on this. And he's like, this is something you should brag about. This is something you want to share with people. Like, you want every coach that you talk to read this and to have it like put in their face. Like, guess what? Your income depends on your effort, your diligence, and your skill. Like, why would you want to recruit somebody that doesn't want to put in effort, diligence, or skills? It's not a bad thing. And Michael Neiman's entire presentation was about this and about how you're not just filling circles within your genealogy to fill circles. It's about what's inside that circle. So these are a couple of the things. So he said, you know, we're cheating ourselves and the people if we don't tell them that the success of their business is going to come with a tremendous amount of effort, diligence, and skill. You've had a tremendous amount of success to get here, but what it's going to take you to go from here to your next milestone is instilling the culture and the desire to put in the effort, holding your team accountable in a way they're excited about, passing on those skills, and making sure that every single person that joins your team has the opportunity and is set up to put in all of their efforts, to be diligent and to have the skills to be successful. This business is not about the number of circles in your organization. It's about the people that build those circles. If you bring in someone that isn't putting in the effort, the diligence, or the skills, you are going to have to work much harder. So don't be shy about saying those words to people. Telling them it will be easy is only cheating them, yourself, and your business. So when you're putting that income disclaimer, like, don't be like blah about it. Don't in your story say, you know, I had a great pay week and Beachbody does not guarantee, but like, don't do that. Be proud of it. You know what I mean? Like, put the stamp on it. Like, I'm going to put the stamp on this because this is legit. And I'm going to tell you about my success and I'm going to brag on it. But I'm going to tell you, you're not going to have it unless you put in the effort, the diligence, and the skills. So there was a lot on this, like a lot. I had a ton of notes from Michael Neiman's. It was probably one of my favorite presentations that he did. But his biggest point was, this is how you develop a team. This is how you foster your business and a team of leaders, is you establish this right out the gates. Like, you want your profile to be the place where people go, where they're like, yeah, she's having success, but you got to have effort, diligence, and skill, because you're doing yourself a disservice if you're recruiting people that think this is going to be easy. It's a waste of your time. And Michael was saying, like, when you look at your genealogy, what the hell does it matter if you have those circles or those bubbles filled with 3,000 people, if all 3,000 of those people are sitting there because they think it's going to be easy and they're not doing any work? They're not diligent and they're not skilled. What's the point? Like, you could have 5 of those bubbles filled of people that are like, yes, okay, I need effort, I need diligence, I need skill. I have those things. I'm here. Like, let's do it. So brag on this, use this, talk about it. Like, this was one of the biggest takeaways for a lot of people. I sat with Sandy, the lady who does the National Wake Up Call, and a lot of people, she said this was almost everybody's top takeaway, is too often we the income disclaimer. And it's like, no, that's something that you use to your advantage in this business. All right, so this is not, so let me get out of here. I'm gonna just close the presentation and share with you guys a couple more things. I had something on, no wait, I lied. There is actually one more, hold on. Just kidding. I just gotta find it. Oh, here we go. Okay, so duplication, and this was something that I found really interesting and super helpful, is the keys to duplication. Kim Carver spoke on this. I could literally listen to Kim Carver talk all day. I think the subjects that he talked on were so crazy, like powerful, and duplication is something that I think a lot of the times we underestimate the power of, and we don't work at enough. So, you know, you have your acquiring, you have your retention, and you have your duplication. This is where the success is within this business. And he was saying, like, you're here 1-star diamond and above, because that's what you had to be to qualify. If you now you're in a place where you know how to acquire and you know how to retain, but if you want to go from 1-star to 15-star or top 10 coach, the key is duplication. And a lot of people think duplication means I'm teaching my personally sponsored coaches. That's actually not true. Duplication is empowering another coach to run their business independently. So if Rachel is my personally sponsored coach, me teaching Rachel what to do is not duplication. Rachel teaching Caitlin or Kelly is duplication. So he talked about that there's 3 keys to duplication, and those keys are core systems. So what are those core systems? And I'm going to go over them super fast. So your core system, what's a system? A system is a defined, simple, and scalable procedure that's used to accomplish a desired outcome. Needs to be simple to be duplicatable. So we have our 3 systems. The first is a system for customer acquisition and retention. This is your system that helps you find customers, bring them in, retain them, help them get results. What is your system to do that? What does your system look like to do that? If right now you can't answer that, that's a problem. Because if you can't answer what that system looks like, how are you going to teach that to your coaches' coaches? So look at, what is my system to acquire and retain customers? And do I have a system that I can teach my coaches that they can also do? When you teach coaches, what are you teaching them? This system is the core of your business. An example of this is Success Club system, which is our business activity tracker, and our accountability groups. The next system is sharing the coaching opportunity, sharing and inviting to coaching. What does that system look like? An example of this would be your info groups, your sneak peeks into coaching. An example for this for us is our coach apprenticeship. What is that system? Do you have a system in place that's, you know, we can go here and my coaches have a system to go to? So if I create the apprenticeship can be used by Rachel. It can be used by Caitlin and Kelly, which are Rachel's. And then it could be used by Megan, which is one of Kate's coaches. So what does that system look like? And then the third system is new coach onboarding, teaching a new coach steps 1 and 2. Do you have a system where now you have the coach from the apprenticeship, and now you have a system to teach them how to bring on how to bring on their new coaches, and teach them how to acquire and retain, and teach them how to share the coaching opportunity? So those are the 3 core systems that you need. 3 core systems. Then from there, the second key to duplication is accountability and allocating time. Focusing your duplication efforts where it's needed most to develop the leaders on your team. Kim Carver gave an example of country club people. You guys know those like country club golf members that he said he was sitting at a country club one time, and he was like, he was sitting at the bar, and this guy was like, "Hey man, are you like a member here at the country club?" And he was like, "No, but what does that mean?" And he's like, "What do you mean? What does it mean?" "It means you're a member of the country club." And Kim's like, "Well, what is that? What do you guys do?" And he's like, I don't know. We kind of just do this. Like we just hang out, talk. Like he was equating it to country club coaches. Where are you allocating your time to? So not spending the time on those coaches that are just there to be there. Those are your loyalists, like Melanie said. That was a huge focus of this. Like, where is your time going? Stop putting your time into people that are not walking the walk. Like, if they're talking the talk, that's great. But at the end of the day, if they're not doing the things, stop putting your time into them. Because you're draining your energy and you're not filling your own cup, and your business isn't going to move forward because of it. And that's just time that if you put it into your runners would be a life changer for your business. Or if you put it into creating these systems, there's so many other places that you can use your time. So 10% of your allocation and duplication time can be spent there with your country club coaches. And that's similar to what Melanie had said. Then you have your inconsistent coaches. Those are the ones that, Melanie talked about, that were like your talkers. These are the ones that suck you dry. He equated it to like the girls he tried to date in high school. Like, they're flirty, they're fun. You think you're locking the deal in, and then they're like, peace. And you wasted all this time and energy on them, and they never even had any thought of ever having anything to do with you. So those are the coaches that you're spending like 10 to 20% of your time on. They need to earn your time. You need to match energy and effort. And you need to tell them that. You need to match your energy and your efforts. Talking about it is great, but if you're not doing it, I can't match your energy and your efforts, right? When they show up, you show up. And newer experienced coaches, this is where 60% of your time and efforts go. So much of your time needs to be here, because if you can teach them how to do it and then teach their coaches how to do it, that's duplication. And then the third piece, the third key to duplication is tracking. And this all comes back to where we first started. Track it. You teaching somebody is not duplication. It's not until that they can teach someone else that the duplication takes place. And this is where he said, look at your levels. So for me, when I go into my sponsorship drill down, I have level 1 is my personally sponsored coaches. Level 2 is their coaches. Level 3 is their coaches' coaches. And it goes all the way down to level 6. And Kim said, look at your even numbers. So your second, your fourth, and your sixth level. What's happening there? Because that's where you can tell if duplication is happening. So if it's not, if you're looking at your fourth level coaches and all of them are a flunk, that's telling you got to go back up to the third level, and you need to figure out where the duplication is not happening. But again, you're not going to be able to identify that if you're not tracking your business. So tracking is key to duplicating, because you can't duplicate if you don't know it's not happening, and you can't fix it. And the last thing that he said is there's the other 3 keys are believe you can lead, believe you can mentor, but most importantly, believe in yourself. Everything said above, if you don't believe you can do it, it's not going to matter, and it's not going to be effective. He said to us, you're going to decide at some point after this weekend. You're either going to fall back and choose to hide behind your levels of self-doubt and the excuses that have become convenient, or you're going to choose to act on belief, to believe and then act on it. And he gave this amazing example. It was actually probably one of the most emotional pieces of the entire weekend. And he was crying on stage when he was presenting this last part. He told this story of him and his wife, and how they met when they were in high school or in college, whenever it was. And he really had this like strong affinity for his wife, like wanted to ask her out, wanted to, but he would always say, Kim, girls like that don't date guys like you. And that was his self-limiting belief. Girls like that don't date guys like you. And so he said they could talk. They were friends. They could talk all the time. But he never asked her out because his self-limiting belief was that she wouldn't date him. And one of his friends one time was like, dude, Kim, why have you not asked this chick out? Like, we're going to this party. You should ask her to go. Like, you should talk to her and you should invite her. You should invite her out. You should date her. He was like, girls like that don't date guys like me. And he just kept saying that, repeating it to himself. And his friend was like, that's bullshit, man. Like, you have a lot to offer. You need to realize what you have to offer. Like, she'd be lucky to date you. And they ended up going to this party. He didn't invite her, but they ended up both meeting up there. They sat down and they talked 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 for like 3 hours. And he said she got up, she had to go, and she was leaving and she was walking away. And he said in his head kept replaying the voice of his friend, like, yeah, you have a lot to offer. And that self-limiting belief, that was the moment where he decided, I'm not going to hide behind this self-limiting belief anymore. And he said he stood up and he was like, you want to go on a date? Like in the most uncomfortable, awkward way ever. She turned around and she was like, what'd you say? I couldn't hear you. And he was like, no, never mind. It was awkward. That was weird. And he was like, it was the most not pretty, not well executed thing ever. But he kept going back to what his friend instilled in him. And so he asked her out. And then he put up a slide and started bawling and was like, look at what it was his home. It was his kids. It was his grandkids. It was he and his wife on their 30th anniversary. And he said, everything that I hold near and dear to my heart would not be my life if I continued to act on self-limiting belief. So that's this business is you are surrounded by those friends that are saying to you, you can do this. You were meant to do this. Like you have a lot to offer. You can build a team. Like I'm here telling all of you guys, stop. Like when I posted the poll in our team page, almost every single person, the top answer, what you guys are the most insecure about right now or not confident in is building a team. So right now I'm squashing that self-limiting belief because I'm telling you guys, I sat in a room full of 1-star diamonds and I had conversations with all of these people. I talked to as many people as I could because I'm like, you know what, if I'm here, I'm going to talk to as many people as I can. I'm going to learn. I'm going to network. I'm going to connect with them on Facebook and Instagram. And I followed all these people and I looked through their shit. And I'm telling you right now, there is nothing that those people have that you guys don't have. The only difference is they just decided to stop being limited by their self-limiting beliefs. That's literally it, myself included. Like I don't have anything special, guys. I was only at this conference because I just decided that my belief was so strong in these programs and these products and you guys as my team that I wasn't going to hide behind those limiting beliefs anymore. So when I invite people to this, I invite them because I believe that this is what's life changing. Like I believe in my soul that my life would be entirely different if it weren't for these programs, these products, this team. I never would have gone. Are you kidding me? I never would have gone if it weren't for you guys because of my self-limiting beliefs and my anxiety. But you guys were my friends that was Kim's friend that got rid of those self-limiting beliefs. Like, no, Kim, you can go on a plane and you can fly to California and you can stay in a hotel by yourself. You guys instilled that belief in me. So now it's my job to say to you, you got to get past those self-limiting beliefs. There is nothing special, nothing special. And you know what? There's nothing special about the people that are going to go to leadership in the fall that you guys don't have. You just need to find the belief in yourselves. And when you hear that negative self-talk and you're like, nope, I can't build a team. Like, why? Why can't you? I went to the airport. I sat next to a girl at game show night. It was 63. And she took the freaking Uber with me to the airport. And she's like in 4-star qual. She's 63, guys. Like, she's a grandma. And she's killing this business. Like, what? She figured out social media because she knew that was the key to this business. So she just learned Instagram. She's 64, 63, whatever she is. There is literally no reason why you guys cannot be at NLC next year. I know I already had that conversation with Rachel and Sarah, but I'm going to tell every single one of you. If you're not there a year from now, it's because of you. Because at the end of the day, I can sit here and I can give you all the trainings, I can give you all the information, and you can reach out to people on Instagram, but if you don't have the belief that you can actually fucking do this thing, it's not going to happen. And the only person that's going to get your ass sitting in the chairs is you. I said to Sarah, I go, you're going to be there. She's like, but isn't it 1-star? I don't know. Can I do 1-star? I was like, fuck that. Like, you can be at leadership. There's a lot of you on this call right now that should be at leadership, myself included. Like, that's my goal. My goal is to hit 5-star to get an invite to leadership in the fall. And there are so many of you that should be your goal. like some of you, if you're newer, it's okay to say my goal is NLC. But I'm telling you right now, I talked to one girl who was 1-star that was at NLC with me. Want to know when she signed up to coach? Thanksgiving, end of November. And I was like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, I hit the 6-week qual right out the gates. Like I just came in guns blazing. And she was sitting at NLC. There is no reason why. There's nothing. She was nothing special. I'm telling you. I like searched her Instagram. I looked for all the answers and what was it? What'd she do? I was picking her brain. And she was like, I just decided. Like my belief, she had been a challenger for a while. She was already talking to people. She was already sharing. So she was like one of the strongest challengers and finally was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Why not? And she like that built a team. Like there's no reason why. And if you're not there, you have to do a gut check and say to yourself, it's my fault that I'm not there. Because you guys all have what you need. So have the confidence. Like when you're promoting this coach apprenticeship, you have the systems. Do you guys know, like, do you even know how much I even underestimate us and I underestimate myself? I can't tell you how many coaches this weekend or this week were like, what do you do for a new coach for sneak peeks? What do you do for coach basic training? Like, what are your systems? Do you know how many people were like, holy shit, like I really want to do that? Do you know how many people saw my challenge group, our challenge group, and were like, shit, why have I been creating a new group every month? Like there's so much value in your group. Like look at your engagement. I was sitting with a coach that's in 3-star qual. She's on her last week of 3-star qual. And she was like, teach me how you run your group. Cause that group is like fire. And all the time I'll be like, I don't know about our group. I think we need to do something different with our group. I don't think there's enough engagement. I don't think we're offering enough value. Cause I just question everything. We question ourselves way too much. I don't think, like I'm telling you, I sat at this event and I had 3 people from corporate that looked at me and said, why the fuck were you not elite this year? I finished with more elite points than 90% of the people at NLC. If you guys don't understand elite points, there's a training that we'll talk about next week that literally broke elite down. And they sat there and said, like, you had more elite points. Like when they look at the class of NLC 2020, I was in the top 10% of elite points. The only reason why I didn't finish elite is because of myself, because I didn't push hard enough. I wasn't consistent, which was another huge thing, consistency in this business. I wasn't consistent. I didn't push hard enough, but you want to know what it was? I didn't have the freaking belief. I left NLC and I was like, holy shit, I doubt myself way too much. And I'm going to be damned if I sit back and let any of you guys doubt yourselves, because that's coming from me. And that's what Sandy said to me. Sandy was sitting directly across from me at dinner and she goes, the only reason why your girls are not all diamonds and the only reason why you didn't finish elite is you. It's you, it's your mindset, and it's your belief. And you need to own that and you need to change it. So I told Mike, I said, if I don't get anything else across to them on this call tonight, if they learn nothing about duplication, nothing about tracking, nothing about anything, I will freaking be damned if I get off that call without them understanding that enough. Like I'm done not believing in myself and I'm done not believing in you guys. And I'm done watching you guys not believe enough in yourselves. They looked at our transformations and they were like, Kim, we finished in number 5. We were the 5th team to go on stage to talk about what I do because of your guys' transformations when I submitted. We were the number 5th team to have the most amazing, powerful transformations in the whole class of 400 teams, 400 coaches. I was number 5 and they were going to have me go on stage. They picked 1 through 5 and they drew out of a hat. Michelle Cahill was the other one. She's one of Ashley coaches. They were like, the fuck, like these are your coaches, these are their transformations, like how are they not diamond, how are they not 1-star, how are they not premier? Like they have everything. They were like freaking stalking you guys on social media at dinner. They were like, who's this, why the fuck is she not 1-star, why is she not here, why? Like it was crazy belief that I didn't even have in myself, let alone us. So if nothing more from this call, because I know I went over, If nothing more, please promise me you will do your personal development, because that is where the belief is going to come from. But at the end of the day, like, you have to do a gut check and you have to say to yourself, like, what the fuck do I want out of this business? Because I am tired of being that coach that people look at and say, why are you not elite? Why are your girls not premier? Like, why do you not have star diamonds on your team? Like, what? You have everything. We have the systems. We have everything. We have the transformations. We have everything. We have the challenge group. The one place we're lacking is our belief. So we can do this. And I'm going to throw it out there because I'm going for elite. And I'm telling you guys this because I can't do it myself. Yes, the belief starts from myself. Yes, the mindset comes from me. Yes, it is my goal. But I am ready to freaking kill it. And I'm going to need 5 diamonds to do it with me. So let's go. Yeah? There's a shit ton more I'm going to share, but that's just scratching the surface. That's like one training out of the 5 or 6 that we went to. And over the next little bit, I'm going to try to drop as much information as I can for you guys. I'm working on, let me stop this recording real quick.